Aloha and welcome to the Woman Unleashed online retreat. My name is Amber Quile Mailani Benici, your retreat host and guide. And today I am joined by Antje Howard. We are going to be doing some Neurographica. So bust out your journal, your pen. If you happen to have some colored pencils, bring them along too. We're going to be diving in. But before I introduce you to our guide in this session, let's first go ahead and take a few breaths to get present and bring all of ourselves, bring all of our energy to here. So invite you with me to close your eyes and just any energy, things that have been happening from before that you're feeling, that your energy or attention is drawn towards in the past. Let's inhale in, exhale and release. Noticing anything that might be drawing your energy or attention into the future. Let's go ahead, letting that go, inhaling in, exhale and release. And our third and final breath, we're going to inhale and smell this moment. Bringing all of our energy, all of our attention, all of ourselves to this moment. And with gratitude, having the time, the energy, the health, and the resources to be here today. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes so I can introduce you to our guide today, Antje Howard. She is an artist, a guide, and a teacher whose goal is to support self-discovery and healing in a creative way. Um, she does this through her art classes, her art ceremonies, and creative coaching sessions. She works with Neurographica, which is a transformative and meditative drawing method that enables her clients and her students to really tap into their subconscious where they can discover and change their negative belief patterns and blockages. That's what we're doing today. I'm so excited. So Antje has a education and background in education and cultural anthropology. She has taught at universities in Germany and in Finland. And besides Neurographica, she is also a certified Qigong and meditation teacher and a dancer. She currently lives in Northern California, but today we have her with us. Welcome, Antje.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for the introduction.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm really excited for us to play together. So I don't know how exactly I found out about Neurographica. I think it was one of our unleashers that said, we need to have Neurographica on. And I was like, what is that? I've never even heard of it. And we went and looked it up. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I think that we might have connected through a fellow retreat guide, but I'm excited. I've got my pens, I've got my pencils. Like I'm ready to like get into a meditative vibe, into like a state to shift some energies. But I would love to hear maybe just a little bit about Neurographica for those that are new to it. Um, yeah, what is it?
Yeah.
What are we gonna be doing?
Yeah, Neurographica is pretty new as well. I think they just celebrated their 10th anniversary. So it's a method that was created by a Russian psychologist and artist whose name is Pavel Piskaryov. And it's very widely known in the Russian-speaking world, but it's just starting now to tap its toes into the English-speaking world. It is a method that brings together principles of psychology, like how our brain works, and principles of art. And behind it is kind of the idea of what they call neuroplasticity, that we can change our brains and we can change our minds and we can learn to see things from different perspectives. And the method is very, very structured. We literally have like step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 8. So it's 8 steps. And for me personally, the way I like to work with that is that I see those 8 steps as a container, as like the place where I can play. So what I really love about it is that we never start with a blank canvas not knowing where to start, because that's always the first step. Today our first step is thinking about what we're going to draw. And what we're going to draw today is I wanted to call them dream seeds, the seeds that we want to plant. When we talked about it, Amber reminded me that for some people out there, it's actually the summer solstice now. So I actually created it in a way that we can look at both. We can look at the seeds that are ready to be planted, or maybe even seeds that we didn't know of, and we can look at the fruits that are ready to be harvested. So I'm going to kind of try to guide it in both ways so you can play with it. I always say, it's a playful method, it's an artistic method. Of course, we have kind of rules that I introduced, and then as artists, you are welcome to break the rules. I just want to put out this permission here. Because some things are like, no, I don't like to play by the rules and I have to do this and that. I, of course, I invite you to give it a try and to see where it lands for you and how it works for you. What we will do is get into a meditative state during and before and during the drawing, where we check in with ourselves. And I'm going to remind you of that. My students always love that because I remind them to breathe and to check in. So we're going to do that. So yeah, I could talk probably for half an hour, but I'm going to leave it at that for now.
I'm excited. Well, you are the exact right retreat guide for us when you say you can break the rules. Like, that's exactly what we're rule breakers here. So we're excited to know the rules and then to choose the rules that we want to break. So I love this. And I love creative process where there is some structure because it does allow for a different jumping off of a we can be a bit braver in self-discovery, I find. So I'm excited.
Yeah,
Yeah, so where should
beautiful.
we begin?
Okay, so let's begin with a check-in. That's how I like to do it. Often I do like larger meditations even, and I always feel that for me, the most important part of this method is not so much the drawing itself, but more the connecting with ourselves. So I like to start with that. So I invite you all to place your feet on the ground if that's available to you. You can close your eyes and just sit comfortable. And let's start with a few deep breaths. Just to arrive, I invite you to feel your feet on the ground and drop into your body, connecting with your body and just asking yourself what sensations are present right now. What do I feel in my body? Without judging it, without trying to change or trying to achieve anything, just being there for a moment, taking a few deep breaths, feeling the breath going in and out. And then I invite you to move up into your heart. You can even place a hand on your heart if that feels good. And check in with your emotions. Check in with what is present there for you right now. Maybe you can name it. Well, maybe it's just a sensation, a feeling. And again, just breathing and being in your emotions, in your heart for a moment. And then I invite you to bring your awareness into your mind, into your head, and just asking what thoughts are present right now. Are your thoughts wandering? Did they already go to the dishes or to anything else that needs to be done later? And can you bring them back to this moment? And again, no judgment, there's no right or wrong. Just being with and observing whatever is present right now. And taking another breath there. And then I invite you back down into the heart. And bringing your hands back together in front of your chest. Taking another deep breath. Bringing a smile to your face. A feeling of gratitude to your heart for showing up today, for starting this little experiment with me. And then let's rub the hands together. Bring warmth, energy, flow, blood flow into the hands. And then whenever they feel nice and warm, place them over your eyes for a moment. And again, just breathe. Just feel the sensation of your hands over your eyes, looking into the darkness there. And imagine a connection between your eyes, your third eye, and your hands, so that everything that you create today will be exactly what you need to see. And taking one more deep breath there, and then you can very gently start waking yourself up, maybe rubbing your face or bringing your hands over your head, over to your neck, or just giving yourself a hug, whatever feels good. Waking and slowly opening your eyes whenever you're ready. And with that, we're going to go into our drawing process. Okay, so I have several different pens here. You don't need all of those. And I got some crystals that I'm just going to have here as companions. I'm going to work with Sharpie today, but you can literally work with anything. I just feel that this is always good for demonstration, but you can, use any kind of pen that you have to draw lines. And we're going to work with growth, inner growth, but also, of course, growth that we want to create in our lives. And one way that we can work with that in Neurographica is drawing lines upward from the bottom up. When I talk about lines now, I don't talk about straight lines because life is not straight. So when you imagine growing, just imagine growing like a root, like a tree. And I'm just going to start drawing, and you can start whenever you're ready. So we draw lines that are natural, like a river, like a root. They meander in their own way. They don't have a pattern. They don't follow anything specific. You can tap into what it feels like. I really invite you to check in with yourself already. We're just going to draw like 5 or 6 lines upward just to start. Feeling into the sensation of inner growth. And the lines can go wherever they want to go. And I even invite you to check in and go where you don't expect them to go. Letting go of control. Allowing them to look different than you thought they should look or might look. Allowing your hand to be soft. Breathing deeply. Taking your time with this. The lines can, of course, overlap and intersect. And they slowly create a kind of pattern that isn't a real pattern. Got 5 now. I'm going to do one more. We don't want to do too much to begin with. And again, breathing and allowing the line to find its own way wherever it wants to go. Okay. So now, I said I'm going to share with you a version for the people that are in the Northern Hemisphere and the people that are in the Southern Hemisphere. And we're going to do that with a kind of straight line that we can think of as the Earth. So if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, I invite you to kind of more or less divide your picture into thirds. And we're going to do the line in the upper third. I'm going to just draw a line here. It doesn't have to be straight, but it's going to be my ground. And if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, it's going to look like this, to where you have more space above. So in the Northern Hemisphere, we want to look into the Earth. We want to look into the darkness underneath. And if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, you want to look above, having more space there because your seeds are already planted and you're going to look at the fruits. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to have a line and I'm going to look below now we're going to go into what really makes this method very, very meditative. And this is what we call conjoining or rounding. And I'm going to very gently and quickly demonstrate that on a different piece of paper. Just imagining I have several different lines here and they intersect. Wherever the lines have intersections, here we have little crosses. And what we do in Neurographica, we round out the crosses, meaning that instead of an X shape, I have a kind of connection point like this. So I'm going to go into my drawing, and I like to actually follow the lines again and just imagine that all the shapes that are created between my lines, they turn into round shapes, and then I'm kind of coloring in the edges. So this shape has like two little edges here, and I'm just going to go and make it a round shape. This is the smoothest way to do it, or you can go into the corners and just round those out. So you can play with that. And to start with, I want to tell you it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be all the different corners. We're just going to start with that. And so if you don't get them all done, don't worry, you can always do that later. Or you can stop the video. So what I'm going to do now is just go into my drawing and start rounding spaces that I see. And I'm kind of starting on the edge here where my earth line is, starting to look below. And with that, I invite you to just take a few deep breaths and just explore your drawing, explore the lines, explore the spaces between the lines. I like to see that as if I was reading between the lines, because all these lines, they are now kind of the language of my subconscious, and I'm looking at what's in between them, how they interconnect. And I'm going to just be a little bit quiet so that you can actually check in with yourself. I invite you to stay aware of your body, just paying attention to any sensations that come up in the process, becoming aware of any emotions that might show up, and any thoughts, allowing everything to be part of the process. All of this is part of the process. And there is no right or wrong way to think or feel. Just breathing. And we're just going to do that for a few minutes.
You can see how this is really meditative, and I just love the reminder you keep giving that there's nothing you can do wrong. I was like, I didn't have enough crossing things. I
Yeah.
didn't make enough of them. I'm like, oh yeah, Antje just said it doesn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I really love is that whenever we work on something, it can remind us of how we react in real life. So it has this very tangible connection to our lives. Now I can ask myself, okay, so how am I impatient with my dreams, for example? Or, if something goes wrong, what do I do? And we can kind of observe that when we work on the drawing, and then take that wisdom into our lives. So even if your pen smudges, or it doesn't look like you want to, What does that tell you? Always just having this openness and this investigative mind with it. And yeah, maybe when you don't have enough crossings, what does that tell you about the seeds that you're planting? Okay, we're going to give it one more minute and then we're going to go into the next step. And again, if you are not finished with it, I invite you to just take your time and you can stop the video, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And I just want to invite everyone to breathe and feel yourself again, always staying connected to what's happening inside of you. And if there's tension, a loud exhale always helps too. That's always a very good thing to do. Okay, so as I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be every single corner, but we want to have the feeling of everything being connected. And now we're going to look for the seeds, and if you're in the southern hemisphere, you can look for the fruits. So I'm going to look down here, and if you're in the south, you can look up there. And I'm just going to ask myself, where do I see circles or round shapes? And then I'm going to draw them. And just allowing my hand to draw absolutely not perfect little circles or round things that I'm going to call my seeds. Here, for example, I saw like something a little bit round and my circle is way bigger than I thought. And that's totally fine. So just going into your drawing and making circles. Still think this should be a smaller one too. And trusting your hand, trusting that it will come out exactly as it should. They can have any size. They don't have to be perfect. They can overlap. And I'm just going to draw a few of them where I see them or where I feel there needs to be one. So this is also an exercise in really trusting your intuition. Or if my intuition tells me there needs to be a circle there, then that's right. That is absolutely what we got to do. I think I got them. And I'm also going to look up here. So maybe there's already, for me, a fruit growing or something. That's also possible. So if I see up here one, or if you see a circle that's maybe halfway through. Oh yeah, maybe this one is halfway through. It's already poking out of the earth. That's fine too. Now the question is, what are they? Now this is going to be a little bit of an investigation. And we're going to do that with rounding again. So now I have these circles and they create, of course, new crossings. So I want to go and integrate my circles into the web of lines so that they are connected to this energy of growth that I felt into when I did the line. So I'm just going to go around my circles and round them, all these little corners. And while I do that, I can just open myself up to the question, what might this circle stand for? I think this big one here is connected to my business somehow. And I like to, and that's absolutely optional, whenever I have an insight of, oh, this is kind of connected to my business, I write something into the circles. Because when I look at this drawing later, then it reminds me of it. You don't have to do that. But I absolutely invite you to just check in and ask yourself the question. And then it's not about finding the answer, finding the right answer, it's just about opening yourself and listening to what your intuition, your inner voice says, because we know everything that we need to know already. So whenever we just throw a question out there, I know that usually I know something. And if you don't know what a circle is, then that's absolutely fine too. Then you just have a seed in your subconscious that you can explore, that may want to come out one day, that may want to be seen. And maybe the realization of what that is comes with the color, maybe comes in a half a year when you look at this drawing again. That's also possible. So we're just going to give this maybe 2 minutes. Checking in. And they can be very specific, but they can also be kind of generic. And for me, it's like art and business. But I can also investigate deeper and ask myself what exactly is there. And again, maybe something comes, or maybe it doesn't. And again, if you're not done with this, absolutely no problem. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just want the impression that the things are connected in some way. And that maybe you touched every circle and asked yourself, what is this for me? And in the Southern Hemisphere, of course, the fruits. Now you ask yourself, what are the fruits that I'm ready to harvest? And there as well, just calling out the question in your mind and seeing what answers just naturally come. Okay, so now we're going to go into a little bit of color just to play with it and to make this drawing a little bit more fun. So as I said, I like to work with colored pencils. If you have colored pencils, that's great. If you have other coloring materials, you can also work with other materials. I like the colored pencils because I can like slowly layer stuff. And because it has a certain quality of applying it. So I just grab a random pencil and I happen to grab just my favorite color. So you can go with that. And I just start wherever I feel drawn to in the picture. No, it's so abstract and random, so I just feel like, oh, it needs to be here somewhere. So I just start somewhere. And what we do now in Neurographica is we connect spaces with color. So what we don't do is just color one little segment. Instead, I want the color to flow through my picture. So I start somewhere and then I see, where does this take me? Where does the color want to go? I like to see the color really as a movement in the picture, and I follow that movement. I follow that energy, that flow of the color. And as I said, you can like layer the colors, you can shade, you can really play with it. For now, I think we're just gonna tap into it a little bit, start the coloring. I usually go back into my drawings. And so I'm just kind of finding out where this color goes. How many parts of my drawing are connected to this, carry this energy of purple. And we can come all the way to the edge, as much or as little as feels right. So there's really a lot of openness there. And I invite you to just really play with it. And then whenever I feel like, okay, this is kind of like what I want it to be, what feels right now in this moment, then I'm going to grab the next one. And again, like I just grab a color or I just have this idea right now. I feel like, oh, I need some red. So I listen to what I need. Find the right one. Yeah. So yeah, just listening to yourself, just seeing, okay, what does your inner guidance say? What color is needed and where does it go? And then just going with the flow. And so we're just going to give that a few minutes. And again, I invite you to feel, what does this color trigger in your body? Is there anything that's happening there? What emotions are connected to it? What thoughts come up? Just being with yourself while you are exploring the color, really tapping into the energy of the color. And if you don't know what color to take, you can either just play with your favorite colors or really asking yourself, what do I need? What would make me feel good right now? What would make me feel like just really, really good about this? So here I don't work with certain palettes or something like this. I just work with, or you can even close your eyes and just grab a color. That can be very interesting too. Allowing it to be a little bit random can be fun as well. So just playing with that and seeing where it guides you. And we don't have to color everything. So it's totally fine to have white spaces. And reminding everyone to breathe. Just being there. Enjoying the process without like it having to look a certain way. Mm.
Antje, I just want to ask because I'm watching you because your watercolor is pretty light on your page. So you're fine crossing over lines. You don't need to stay in sections at all, right? Just want to.
Exactly. Yeah. I actually always encourage my students to go over lines and really imagine this like going over your inner boundaries. Like when we look at all these lines, we have created all these boundaries there. And now with the color, we can create flow that goes beyond, that really kind of opens up this freedom inside of us. Yeah, thank you for asking that. So yeah, I'm just going wherever it takes me. And also like when I go into a segment, it's not like I have to color it. I can just go in it and shade it a little bit and leave half of it white, for example. And I can, yeah, make some a little bit darker, some a little bit lighter. I can go over and overlap the colors. Just, yeah, really allowing yourself to be absolutely free in it.
Yeah, I think this is like such a powerful practice, like this piece of drawing lines and then purposely. For any of you recovering perfectionists, this is the practice for you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I always, yeah, like to say that if you suffer from perfectionism, come try Neurographica because, yeah, it can really, really, really help loosen that up. Yeah. And it can, of course, also kind of inspire us in different ways. When we just allow this flow of color and the flow of the lines, it can create things like I have a lot of people tell me that they start seeing symbols in their drawings, and you can, of course, pay attention to that, what comes up. This is why I always remind everyone to check in with themselves. Know what kind of thoughts, what story comes up in your mind when you color this way, when you look at the things. Or really, yeah, really making this an inner practice, like a meditative practice where it's all about your experience, not so much about what it looks like in the end. I'm going to do one more color and then we're going to go into the last two steps. Another view here. And again, if you feel like you need more time, you can always take more time. You can also just after go back into this process. I sometimes literally go back into drawings like a week later and I see, oh, there needs to be another circle or there needs to be another line or, oh, this needs more color. So that is absolutely allowed, even though I always feel that it's good sometimes to just let the process be over as well. But yeah, whenever you look at it later and you feel like there needs to be something else, you can always add more. You can always go back in. And literally, I color until I feel some kind of inner satisfaction. This is how I gauge if the coloring is enough. Whenever it feels like, oh, yeah, this is great. This is nice now. For some whatever reason, then I stop. Or as I said, I actually go to the end of the process and then I go and shade a little bit more or play a little bit more with it. Especially when I just want to think. Like for me, it really helps me think. Okay, but now let's go into the last two steps. Now what we're going to do is draw another line, and this is going to be a special line. I like to bring in an intention, for example, or make it a line of a certain energy. If I want to bring, for example, more love into my life, I make it a line of love. If I want to bring, I don't know, more silence or whatever you need, you can bring it in with this line. I like to do that actually with brush pens. Sometimes it can be really, really nice with brush pens, but for today, I'm just going to go in with my same pen that I had in the beginning. So I'm going to do one more line that goes from the very bottom to the very top, checking into this feeling of growth again. This line, it can connect with and follow pathways that are already there, but it can also play its own game. It can also completely do its own thing. And for me, I kind of feel that it goes where my circles are. So I want to touch all these circles. I invite you to just allow yourself to be guided. Connect to whatever greater power you believe in, I'm going to say, and allow your hand to be guided by it. So I'm just going to go and go through the drawing, make a line that goes through these circles that I kind of found interesting. And with this one, I like to go back and forth. So now we're going to pull the energy back down towards me, following the same line, tapping into whatever intention, whatever feeling, whatever I want to connect to it. And I'm just going to do that a few times until this line is thicker than the other ones and really stands out. It can be really like a river. I like when it kind of meanders. And with this one, really again, feeling into the energy of it, feeling into the flow of it, allowing it to flow. I'm just going to go up and down 3 times. It feels right today. You can do this as many times as you like. One more time, inviting everyone to breathe, to check in with yourself, color it in. And see where it taps in for you. And now we want to connect this line again to everything else. So we're going to round one more time, just a little bit. Just like if there are spaces where the line crosses other things, Just kind of softening it out, making sure that the energy of this line can flow throughout the entire picture. That is all a web, that is all connected, that it's all soft and in flow. And while I do that, I can, of course, again, check in with the energy of the line. Maybe I have a mantra or an affirmation that I want to say. Really also playing with that, making this as intentional as you want. Hmm. And now we come to kind of the last important step in the picture, I find, and that is to choose one of the circles that we created and emphasize that one. And the reason why we're doing that is so that when we look at the picture, something stands out. The way I like to choose is I look at the picture and look which one stands out to me. And I have two that kind of stands out. One is this really, really yellow one up there that kind of glows. So this could be one. But since I'm looking at the seeds today, I'm going to choose this big one here. So a circle that's bigger, a circle that has a specific color, a circle that just for some reason, maybe it's also the meaning, stands out to you. If you cannot choose one, then I invite you to close your eyes and open them and look at the picture and see what is the thing that you see. And now we're going to emphasize that one by thickening the line around it, just like we did with the line. Just go around that circle and kind of feel into it. Feel into your choice. And I just want to say there are no wrong choices. If after your drawing you feel like, oh, I wish I had done something different, then, I always say, this is just a good teaching in how it feels to make the wrong decision or how it feels to trust your intuition. And this is what we want to explore here. And then one last time, we'll go around this circle and make sure that everything around it is softened again, is integrated into the rest of the drawing, is flowing and connected. And then, of course, we can start reflecting. The reflection is actually one of the most important steps. The final step of this process is to reflect on the journey, on what happened, what seeds or what fruits, depending on where you are, showed themselves. How did they feel? How did you connect to them? And how does it feel now to choose one of them? And this might be the one that you want to focus on next. Or this might be the one that has a special message for you. So just reflecting on that, just kind of sitting with it and seeing whatever comes up inside of you. Here is really where we can receive messages. And I invite you to just sit with your drawing for a little while after this, reconnecting to it. You can also go back into drawing. You can add some lines. You can play with the color some more. So you can just make it more beautiful if you want to do that. But most of all, sitting with all those different seeds or fruits that you created now and just connecting with them and asking yourself, how do they show up in my life?
My gosh, Antje, I love this. It's like I entered into the Neurographica world. Here's where I'm at right now. I'm loving it. Like, ooh,
Beautiful. Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a nice thing. You don't have to do much and it looks really nice most of the time. Yeah.
Exactly. So, sisters, I would love for you to, if you are called to share, take a picture of your Neurographica picture and
Mhm.
come post it in our Facebook circle. The link's below where you can find it. You can share if you know of any of your seeds or your fruits. We'd love to hear what those are. If you love Neurographic and you're like, this is amazing, Antje has two different things for us. One is a free offering for everyone. So I'm going to have you share that one first.
So my free offering for everyone is a Neurographica guidebook that I created because I always have a lot of people asking a lot of questions. And so I compiled a guide that explains what the method is about, the most important elements, and yeah, a lot of information. And in the guide, there's a lot of videos linked that you can look on my YouTube channel where I have a lot of free YouTube processes, guided processes as well. Yeah, so that is the free offer.
Well, the link is right here below. You'll notice it says guidebook, so you can click on that and you can go ahead and access that. So if you're like just kind of wanting a taste and a little bit more about that, that's there. If you're like, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed, I want more. Anja, you have something for the store. You want to share with what you have, what you're offering?
In the store is going to be my Neurographica introductory course, the Neurographica basics course. That is a very comprehensive course that explains in very, very, very depth all about this method, the theory behind it, and we do a lot of exercises that are specifically to release. In the first course, and that's something that I really, really like. Pavel, the founder of the method, he said that before we go into creating, manifesting, and using the art to like fulfill our dreams, we first need to deal with our own stuff. So that's what this really, really goes into. And yeah, you're going to learn to use Neurographica for yourself with anything that you want. So any challenge, you can draw a drawing or yeah, anything that you want to think about, you can make a drawing with it. So yeah, I hope that you're going to
That's,
enjoy that.
how much is that for people?
Oh, I'm actually going to give a discount for it, I thought. So it's going to be, how much would that be?
The
Like
point
that.
is that if you get it now, you get a discount. So the
Yeah.
information is right here below. So you can jump into the store, use a discount code to get your discount. Just follow instructions. We'll make sure that you're settled. And thank you so much, Anja, for coming, for sharing your wisdom, your neurographica, for like introducing our world to your world. I feel like yeah, it's so important right now to have ways to release, to let go. And I feel like, especially this first course is so needed right now. So thank you for coming and sharing with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
On that note, we will see you on our next Woman Unleashed session. Looking forward to it. And as always, here's to tuning in to, yes, breaking the rules as Antje so support us to do today. And yeah, unleashing to the next level. We'll see you then.